Today we're going to be testing out a shop-made anti-vibration bar. So last week we built this little sucker, and look, it's short, it's fat, it's very, very chunky, but it's to machine out internal chunky threads, 2 threads per inch. I've called this bar overkill because it is. it is a very solid little bit of gear, and we're just going to see how it performs in this video. I'm going to be hogging it all out and machining it in our Colchester Alpha 1760. So let's get cracking. Lovely. Now before we send in our buddy Kong, I'm going to set this new threading tool up. This is the one that we used. It had a Kennametal head similar to Kong on there to do the 3 TPI big threads on the last set of mega drill rods. That's as far as I could, jimmy up a top-notch insert to go, was 3 TPI. Even though this is just a T insert, it has the same 60-degree profile. You can see the difference in size with the bars. Clamping is a little different. I'm 50-50 on how this goes, but to do your big 2 TPI threads, I'm hoping this bar works out nicely. I've got to set the tool height, touch off is 0 and take a little cut, but that's a 63mm bar, that's 82. So more rigid, it's got to cut a little bit longer and deeper thread, so that is dampened on the inside, which we built in the last video. Again, it's not an anti-vibration bar by standard terms, but it should dampen a bit of the vibration if there is any. I know one way to find out how you go. Anyway, let's set you up. What I'm first going to do here is grind some of the meat off the bottom here to give me more clearance. Otherwise I'm going to get helical interference for sure. I'm quite a fan. This is a Palbert tool holder. I thought I'd mention this. I really like this clamping system. It's a personal preference. One, I like that it's got, what does it say? It's a 5mm Allen key for that. Like, it's just nice and big and sturdy. I think it holds them in really well. But I just get sick of when you're burring them with the tiny little ones. Like, some of these have got the most ridiculously undersized clamps for big tooling. This I really like. All right. Much better. Just to make life easy, all of the machines have a tool height bar. Manual ones, big ones. I'm sure there's more advanced ways to do it, but that is set at the exact tool height. Now when I wind them in, I can set it correctly, very easily. Wind them over so you can see it's apparently set significantly too high. I have these here, at least for this lathe with the Dixon tool post, I actually put 2 shaved off nuts on the underside there and 1 on the top. So once I set the tool height, it's locked in for this tool. That's all this tool holder will ever do. It just means no setup time. So I've done that. We've got about 35 tool holders now on this lathe. And there's a bit of setup at the start, but it just makes jobs so much quicker. So I'm just going to adjust that. Tool height will then be set, and then we'll bore him out and give this thing a crack. So as far as tool height goes, I've set it just a little bit above, like just ever so slightly above center. When I usually just use a ruler and just until it just touches, but it is, the thickness of a ruler is a mil, it's nothing near that. It'd be like 0.2 or 0.3 above center height. Just enough that, don't foresee this dipping much based on how short and fat it is, but just a little bit above center, so. Just feel it, just enough, but yeah. See how you go. Beautiful. Good job, my trusty little friend. Good job, buddy. All right, my saber-toothed little friend. You are it. Vaya con Dios. We're going to be using, this is what worked on the external thread, staggered depth, which is what we use for larger threads. I'm not going to be doing any finish cuts or anything on this particular example. Q.2, so that's cut depth. I tried a larger one doing the external and it was wild. So we'll stick to that. Now as far as cutting data, so you can see, 2 TPI thread, 7.5 mil thread depth. Yep, there's 168 deep. That's all been checked. Now whenever I'm cutting a thread for the first time, I've given it a dry run, but I actually go to my tool offset, that's tool 28 that I've just set up. And what I'm going to do is just the maximum tool depth I can offset towards the 0 is 2. So it just lets me have a look at it, make sure that everything is actually right by eye before we hook in and make the actual cuts. It's like a little shadow pass. Anyway, let's do that. All right, so I'm happy with how that pass went. I'll now take him down to just 0. Taper looks correct, everything looks good. All right, so I was just testing there to see how close we are to screwing up. I'm at about 5 mil thread depth there. you can hear it as the tool enters. It's got like a bit of a squealing sound. It's not chattering, but what's happening is, because I'm using a neutral insert, it is getting helical interference as it's going deeper into the pass. I expected that this may happen. I just wanted to see how it would go, you know, change it as you go. If it worked, great. If it doesn't, then we adapt. What we're gonna do is turn that tool by milling a little face off the bottom and turn it 0.86 of a degree. Just that little angle will mean that the tool will follow the coil, like the helix itself, and we won't get helical interference. So I'm going to go and do that now, and I'm going to run the last few passes, and it should cut like butter. Just for people that are curious, you have so many different types of inserts. Now this is a TNMG. This is the insert style that I'm using in this bar. The reason is because you get 6 corners, so you can see you can flip the insert over and go again. These are a really tough insert because it's got what's called like a neutral angle there. There's no clearance. It means that it's very, very tough, which is what I want because we've got to cut so many of these threads, and insert cost does become an issue. I could have used what's called a TCMT, which, sorry about the shadowing, but it has a 7-degree relief angle on it, but it's just not as robust of an insert, and I get 3 goes at it rather than 6. So I could have gone either way. I chose to go with this to see how it'd cut first, but just by tilting that tool, that means that the fact that it's a neutral clearance isn't going to matter because it will actually follow it. So it's a bit more mucking around, kicking it forward ever so slightly to allow for that helical angle, and then we're laughing. That's exaggerated on what we're going to do, but it will just kick that tool What drugs am I on? I've just done it backwards. The exact opposite of what I just put on there. Oh, yeah. I'll just get the brake cleaner, I'll wipe it off. Yeah, so I've got to go the other way. Ugh. It's about 40 degrees in this shop. I tell you what, I'm sweating like a celebrity on an Epstein list. But anyway, it's hard to think some days when it's 100% humidity. So yeah, we've got to do the opposite, which is just kick it forward like that. And that's the internal one. It's the same thing, that's going to kick it forward the correct way we want. So as it comes along, there's no interference. So Willie has just dialed in just to make sure that it's running true on the vise. My poor old vise has seen better days. Tilted the head to just under 1 degree. See on the other side there. Just under 1 degree. Now we're going to go mill along here and then I'll refit the tools. Got him fitted back in and you can see just, it's only ever so slight. But it'll get the job done. Beautiful. Full depth, no squeal. Beautiful. Angle tilt for the win. So beautiful. Like butter. Righto. Good job, buddy. Good job. We will mill a window and have a little look at the engagement. And you, my stout little friend, are a little ripper. All right, so they've milled that out. And when we rescrew this back up, it just allows me to see what's going on
with the threads. It's actually proved to be, I know it's unconventional and people wouldn't normally do this, but it does make it easier, especially when I'm cutting a brand new custom thread, to just check the engagement, make sure that I haven't made any mistakes, and then it serves well for the testers. But also, when rods come back in worn, it allows me to see, you know, okay, they might look worn, but how much engagement has actually been lost. So it's kind of a handy little inspection window, a window to the world of what's going on. So these are the, as I said, these are the second largest set we're making, and there's a much bigger one coming in Thor the Megabore. Let's screw them together and have a look at the engagement, hey? Oh, neat. That is exactly what I want. All right. That is superb. You've got to have those little gaps that you can see there, top and bottom on the crest and trough. I just call it a crap gap. I'm sure there's a name for it. But it just means that out in the field, they've got a little bit of leeway. Because in a drilling application, this is going to have dirt and dope. That's what they call rod grease, dope. And all sorts of stuff is going to get in there. And because the female or the box thread of this will have an inner tube sitting in it, it's very difficult to get your hand in to try and clean them. So we just try to make these forgiving, but that has got a tremendous amount of engagement. Probably I would say 6 mil, or about a 1/4 inch of full thread engagement along on this one, 175 mil. I'm really happy with how that turned out. Sometimes you've got to make little adjustments. My theory is test it as is. If it works, great, you don't need to change it. If it doesn't, just make your adjustments. So just the tilting of that tool, slightly under a degree, took out all of the squealing and it just cut like butter, which is awesome. So that's the largest set of drill rods I'm likely to make in the Howell Colchester Alpha 1760. Next week, I am headed over to Thor the Megabore, where we are going to be installing all of the tooling, getting familiar with this machine, taking the first few cuts, and installing a brand new boring bar. And once this thing's all kitted up, the tool post looks like a steampunk war machine. It is just awesome. This thing it's got so much power that it's terrifying and bloody exciting. So it's going to be an awesome episode next week, guys. I can't wait to share it with you. But anyway, that's it from me. I will catch you in the comments, and I will catch you on the next one. That is the most gigantic steady I've ever seen. So this big shout out and thank you to Graham from ESP Machinery Sales, who sent us this bad boy. Unreal. That is solid, heavy duty. Holy crikey. We were going to have to build one of these. I think I mentioned on a video, and Graham took it upon himself to actually send this to us. So mate, I am so grateful. Guys, that is an absolute weapon. I'm going to find out what it weighs. That's got to be 1/2 ton right there. Gee, like that other one is big. This thing is huge. So that'll be part of the carriage that we build out the back. Awesome, just awesome. Which ones are they? Let's go have a look, hey? Oh, the monsters. Big monsters. Look at the size of that steady, Teddy. Whoa, Teddy. We'll make him spin, hey? Teddy versus the steady? He's broken?
Yeah.
No, he's fixed. We turn him on?
Yeah.
Make him go? Let's do it, hey?